Congressman and retired Brigadier General Scott Perry, the chair of the House Freedom Caucus. Congressman, good to see you. I want to talk about the northern border in a second, but first of all, just the big picture. I mean, the border crisis is so emblematic of so many crises that have resulted from bad policies from this administration, which enable them to tell these lies to the public. Again, Larry and I both hate to use the word lies for talking about a president, but there's no other word when you call an open border like we have closed, as they do time and again. And then you say it's not going to spread, but it's spreading to Canada. I mean, just the overspill of these crises are happening in so many fronts.
Yeah, isn't it emblematic that we get a message from the president that Kyiv captured a part of his heart? So he flew to Ukraine and went over there to look at their crisis. Meanwhile, he ignores the crisis in America, the border, the southern border, the northern border. How about East Palestine? It's never captured his heart because he's never been there. We have record numbers, 250,000 people a month coming in on the southern border. And now we have them, the record numbers occurring on the northern border. You know what has changed since President Trump was in office and the border was the most secure it has been in recent history? What has changed is the president and his view towards policies. The Border Patrol is still out there faithfully doing its job. Laws are all remaining in place. The one thing that has changed is President Biden refuses to follow the law, refuses to enforce the law, and instead invites all these folks to come from around the world to the United States of America, says he'll pay for them, pay for their lawyers, pay for their food, their housing, pay for their travel to your home. Meanwhile, Americans are suffering. You already did the stats on our kids in school, so we know that that's not helping. That's a crisis that President Biden isn't paying any attention to. And what about the massive fentanyl deaths occurring in the United States of America, coming through China, from China, through the southern border to your town, killing your children? It is outrageous. It is outrageous that this president is doing this, that this administration is doing this. And any representative in Congress or the Senate that's not willing to defund these things. Look, the president is asking right now to increase the debt ceiling while he's spending billions and pounds, hundreds of billions of your dollars on this stuff. And he's asking us to raise the debt ceiling. Anybody that'd be willing to do that doesn't deserve to be in office.
Well, Congressman, the other thing that's so frustrating is so many of these problems have been dealt with successfully. So we know we have a model of what works and what doesn't work. You mentioned the Trump administration or the border. They had their crisis in 2018, 2019. They addressed the crisis with the Remain in Mexico policy, which worked very well. They created more walls. They filled in the gaps that we had in the system, and it stopped them. Didn't stop illegal immigration entirely, but it really stemmed the flow. So it's kind of like the legal situation, law and order in America. We saw how you can turn around a city in the midst of crime like New York City, the way Giuliani did, and yet we're going in exactly the opposite direction. This whole country now is somehow entranced by policies that don't work.
Yeah, I really don't understand why I don't think they really thought and believed that they signed onto this, that the president would do these things. And of course, he just, like you said, he stands out there and tells them one thing and tells them to not believe their lying eyes. And I'm sure he's going to ask for more money for Border Patrol because he's sending them from the southern border now to the northern border. I'll let everybody know that when the border was secure under Donald Trump as president, there were actually less Border Patrol agents in the system at that time. So it's not a matter of resources or money. It's a matter of faithfully executing the laws that are currently on the books. He's just not willing to do it. Neither is the Secretary Mayorkas. That's why Secretary Mayorkas, he deserves an impeachment trial. You can't just disregard the nation's laws and expect no accountability and no consequence. The American people are suffering the consequences. The Biden administration needs to start suffering the consequences as well.
Yeah. You talked about Ukraine, and I want to get more specifically into this because you were, as a brigadier general, you have a lot of experience in dealing with wars. The way we got into this is another thing. We dealt with it a little bit with our previous guest, but where does all this end? I mean, I know there were problems getting into it. We waited too long to get into it. Then the president said a minor incursion is okay by Russia. That impelled them to go even further. But where do we go now? Because we are in it. How do we get out of it?
Well, we didn't have to get into to the extent that we did, and nobody likes what Russia did. But let me just tell you this. I think the president has failed to articulate to the American people what our national interest is in being there. And I think the way that we get out of it is for Europe, who's on the doorstep to this, who has the most at stake, to get into it and replace the United States' involvement with their involvement. And some people say, well, they don't have the money, they don't have the resources. Well, they're sure going to have the resources if Russia keeps going. So they have every incentive. They're there. We're over here with our own problems created by Joe Biden, generally speaking. So the way for us out is for them to get more involved in their neighborhood. It is not our neighborhood. It is theirs. We have our own problems here, and it is their responsibility much more than it's ours.
But as we were talking about the border crisis and spinning off into other directions of chaos, et cetera, now you have this possibility of a China-Russia axis where China might supply hardware for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. What happens if that happens?
Well, why wouldn't China do it? Look, weakness is provocative. Russia sees us providing arms to Ukraine, and they're allied with China more closely now than they may have ever been in history. This is all caused by poor policy making and poor strategic planning on behalf of the left and Democrats and President Biden and his administration in particular. We should expect this. We shouldn't be surprised by this. The way to stop this, one of the ways to stop this, is to disengage ourselves from this and have Europe pick up the tab and pick up the cost and dealing with this. And then we can deal directly with the Chinese as we should and as we must, will be inevitable.
Forgive me for interrupting. I got to get this last point in because another scam that we all have to deal with, and you only got about 30 seconds. A China tech company may be benefiting from U.S. taxpayer subsidies for batteries through a deal that Ford has now made to have this Chinese company work and create batteries that get subsidies through the whole electric car program. That's as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. What do you make of that? How do you stop it as a member of Congress? Quickly.
Well, we stop it by supporting American companies doing things in America for American citizens, not by allowing them to support the Communist Party of China. And so while it would be tough on Ford, I think that we can produce batteries here if we need to and we want to. Our policy must be an America first policy before it's a profit first policy. And that's where American companies need to be. And that's where our federal government needs to be.
Congressman and General Scott Perry, great to see you, sir. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.